Hey, welcome back to another exciting edition of the Shoe and Show. It's so good to be here. Now, Christie, you're my partner in crime today in this conversation. And when I was in high school, there was this country song by Mark Chestnut, and it was Going Through the Big D. And the lyrics said something like, going through the Big D, but I don't mean Dallas. Well, on Shoe and Show today, we do mean Dallas because we're here with the Dallas Market Center, one of their key partners and customers. So Christie, as we get started in this conversation, who are our guests today on Shoe and Show?
Yes, thank you, Matt. We are so excited to be here today with Sharon Carpenter. She is the Vice President of Sales at Ariat International. And we also have Cindy Morris, President and CEO of Dallas Market Center. Welcome, Sharon and Cindy. Thank you so much for being here with us today on Shoe and Show.
Thanks for having us.
Our first question is around Dallas, and maybe I'll pose this to you, Cindy, and then Sharon, you can kind of jump in with your perspective as the brand of the hour, if you will. But we know that Dallas is kind of the heart of the Western footwear world. For those who may not know the Dallas Market Center per se, can you paint a picture of what makes it so central to the industry at this moment?
Oh, absolutely. So first and foremost, we are in Texas, and everything in Texas is Western, and so that's key. But also, I mean, it's just the fact that if you look at Texas, we're in the middle of the country. We have retailers coming here from all over the country, and there's such energy and excitement in this market center. And we're so excited to be able to be the home for the Western industry as well as the equestrian industry. But beyond that, we're all about women's and men's and children's apparel and accessories. And so we're thrilled to have been able to add Western and English to our product mix back in 2021.
Yeah, and just building on to that, Cindy, we feel like Dallas is really the heartbeat of the Western industry. Product, people, and to your point, energy, it all comes together. When you walk the halls of the Dallas Market Center, you really feel it. Every conversation, every handshake. Business doesn't just get done, the connections are made.
Can you paint a picture a little bit of what the Dallas Market Center looks like for those who haven't been there?
Oh, absolutely. We are a 5 million square foot campus here. And so we are home to women's, men's, children's, Western English apparel and accessories. Beyond that, we are the home to the lighting industry, decorative lighting and fixtures, as well as architectural lighting, gift product, home product, interior design product. So it really makes us a complete marketplace. And we always kind of call ourselves, we're like a shopping mall where retail stores come to buy product. So for that lifestyle customer, they can buy everything here in Dallas. And for Western, it was so important because the traditional Western, that's a lifestyle. It's not just the apparel and the boots and the hats, it's the home product, it's the gift product, and they can do all of that in Dallas.
Now, one of the things I love about Dallas, I have my brother and my father were both born in Texas, so I've spent quite a bit of time in Texas. But when you go to Dallas, like everything's new. When you go up to like Frisco and to Plano and to just the Metroplex, the airport's one of the busiest in the world. But there's a lot of investment happening in Dallas. I'm a Commanders fan. We won't talk about the football team. But beyond that, just when you arrive to DFW and you get out and you make your way around the area, there's just so much economic activity. But during the pandemic, it seems like we also saw a shift where the Western industry just said, you know what, Dallas is our home. This is where we're going to set up, plant a flag. Sharon, what was kind of behind that? Is that something you noticed kind of with the pandemic and moving forward? And what makes DFW and Dallas in the Metroplex such the best place to house all of this activity?
It's a great question, Matt. I think the pandemic forced us all to think differently about how we did business. And for us, Dallas made sense, right? It was central, it was accessible, and it gave us a chance to connect in an intentional way. And those first shows, they were a little bit smaller. The conversations were deeper. So we gained efficiency across our big customer base. And honestly, we feel like we gained a community, especially with the Dallas Market Center team.
And if you look at it from Dallas Market Center's perspective, we launched Western during COVID. And we were really fortunate in Texas that we were able to be open because we knew that retailers needed product and commerce had to continue. And so Sharon's right. When it started, I mean, it started a little slow during COVID. And we always laughed because on our apparel floors, we had all these manufacturers from 7th Avenue coming in, and they're looking and they're like, this looks like a nightclub scene on the Western floors. There's bars in the showrooms and there's people everywhere. But we were able to really what I think made the difference for the Western community is they were able to broaden their base. The manufacturers were able to sell apparel stores and footwear stores and other fashion stores. And on the retailer side, they were able to source Western product. And if you look at it, I mean, Western's the hottest fashion trend in America. And so now you're able to bring new business to both the retailer and the exhibitor and the manufacturer here, which was so amazing for us to watch that happen. And we also heard that, prior, there's 2 Western shows a year, January and August. And January has always been huge, as Sharon can talk about as well. And August was always significantly smaller. August has grown so much now since it's been in Dallas. And I have principals tell me that they didn't even go to the August show in the past, and they will not miss it now that it's moved to Dallas because the business has grown so significantly for them.
That was awesome.
So fortunately, a couple years ago, I had the opportunity to go to the Houston rodeo. Now it's not Dallas, but I'm picturing and kind of the same style. So hats, belt buckles, boots, and all of that. So Sharon, Ariat has done an incredible job balancing authenticity and growth. How has the brand evolved to connect with both core Western consumers and new audiences like someone like myself?
Christie, that's a great question. I think what's made us successful is balancing our deep Western roots, our deep heritage, with new consumers who love the lifestyle. This isn't a trend, right? As we discussed earlier, this is a lifestyle. And Ariat, we feel like we've grown by staying true to what matters: performance, quality, and people. And we don't chase trends. We evolve with purpose and intention.
Thank you.
All right. So one of the things I thought about as Christie was talking about Houston and the trends and stuff like that is I literally saw a headline the other day that said, "Why are cowboys everywhere?" So what is driving kind of this broader awareness around just the style and the aesthetic of it all? Because it's something that's Americana through and through. In fact, when you think about even Asian buyers and Asian shoppers and those in the Middle East, when they think about the U.S. market, they will think about cowboys and Western wear. So what is driving that trend right now? Is there is it a show? I mean, there's a number of shows out there. Is it something else that we're not tapping into that our viewers would love to know more about?
Well, coming out of the pandemic again, what we see is that Western's not a trend anymore. It's a statement of confidence, right? And so we see it on stage, we see it in fashion, we see it on the street. But what it's become, in our opinion, is a global expression of individuality, which really sets us apart from every other fashion point out there in the marketplace. And, I think the world's discovering what we've known all along, which is Western is timeless. It's not trendy.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, Cindy, from your perspective, what are some of the trends you're seeing and how buyers are engaging with the Dallas Market Center and with these markets? You talked about how now, your customers will not miss the August show, but is there a difference in how they're engaging with the show? It's, we're in this era right now where regionalized shows are critically important. Fast fashion is very important. But how are buyers engaging and trying to capture those, not just trends, as Sharon put it, but these lifestyle statements? How are you seeing that play out with your customers?
Well, when you look at our marketplace, I mean, we try to cover all aspects of it. And so for the buyer, they can come here and they can buy that young contemporary, more of that fast fashion product, or they could buy that contemporary, that better and bridge product. They can buy those accessories. They can buy the footwear. But what we're seeing with them is we're doing fashion shows as well. So we're taking those trends, we're putting them on the runways. They can take notes, they can go shop, and we're mixing the product up. We're mixing price points up. We're mixing in, Western with it. And so we're trying to give them those ideas. But the buyers, I think because of the COVID, era they went through, and then also more recently with the tariffs, the buyers have become so much smarter, in my opinion. They've really had to study their margins. They've had to look at what sells, and they're also very collaborative with each other. I mean, we've got groups that meet. We have a retail advisory board, and then people get together, they exchange ideas, and they're becoming so much smarter. They've learned how to really use the facility. They've learned how to experiment. Apparel stores come and they go shop the gift showrooms. They'll add candles by their cash registers. And so they're really focused on, how do I differentiate my store, from my neighbor next door or down the street. And so we've seen retailers, they've really become stronger because of what they've gone through COVID and through tariffs. And those that have survived are really strong. They're smart. And they're here, 5 times a year, and some are even coming back to the gift show so that they can find even more unique product to add to their mix.
Well, and Sharon, that begs the question: as a sales executive, how has kind of the dynamic for your job changed? What's your day job look like now relative to engaging with these marketplaces, knowing some of your key retail partners are coming to these shows? Are there differences that you're seeing relative to maybe some of the stressors that Cindy pointed out that some of our retailers and brands are facing? One of the things I love about footwear is that we're a familial industry. We're like a big family. Is that dynamic continuing even to this day with all these stressors that we have?
Matt, it is. I think the best markets feel a lot less transactional and more like a partnership. With that said, though, what we're seeing is that retail is moving faster and more collaborative than ever. Buyers aren't just looking for product. They're looking for stories. They're looking for data, and they're looking for connection. And so while the handshake is still a super important part of what we do, now we back that with insight, data, and storytelling. And that's what's been the big change that I've seen. Cindy, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The relationships have become so much more important for those retailers, and even like our footwear stores. I mean, they're looking. How can I add accessory product in, or how can I buy one size apparel? They don't want to necessarily carry the broad range of apparel, but they're really looking to be collaborative. They're looking for relationships, and they're looking to experiment, but also experiment and then measure it, and then come back and say, hey, this is working, this isn't, these brands have been partners with me. And Ariat's a great example of one. I mean, you look at the partnerships they've established, the relationships with their customers. I mean, even here in Dallas, I mean, they initially launched, they have a large space on our western floor. And then in January, they opened this space that I'm in on our English floor. And this space is to service their English and their international customers. And the other area that's really strong for us is Mexico. And so there's a lot of retailers in Mexico that cater to that market. And they can come here, and they've got this amazing home where Ariat is here to serve international and English customers. And they make all those customers feel special.
That's amazing. For those of maybe like me who doesn't know, what's the difference between Western and English?
Wow, that's a great question, Christie. So, I think if we look at the overarching message of the Ariat brand, it's for people who love and live in the outdoors, right? Now, the Western consumer who rides in a Western saddle, or they might ranch, or they're a performance athlete, they have specific product and performance style that they need in the arena or on the ranch. And we are very true to our consumers as athletes. It's one of our ethos, right? We see our customers as athletes. On the equestrian side, same thing. They're athletes, but they ride in a different ring under different disciplines with different product needs. And so we try and create product and purpose for those athletes as well.
That's amazing. You cover it all.
Hey, you also work, right? I mean, is it work a part of the equation too?
It is. It's work is actually one of our fastest growing categories in business. We again, listening to the consumer is a key part of how we show up and how we do business, both for footwear and apparel. And so we spend a ton of time back to Cindy's point, we work with our Hispanic consumers to understand the needs of their business, our equestrian athletes and their advisories, the work team and their advisories, and then of course our Western category as well, which is our great passion.
And you know what else? I don't even know if you guys know this, but last year, Beth Cross, the founder of Ariat, was inducted into the Cowgirl Hall of Fame. And just listening to her story about how she got started, really on the athletic side of it, and then created this brand that combines that for the consumer. And Sharon, I don't know if people have heard that, but to me, it's an amazing story.
It really is, Cindy. Beth brings all of the best pieces of who we are to the very top of our company and to the entry level. She's protected our culture, and she leads with a message of care and commitment and intention across everything she does. It's so exciting to be part of the brand.
Yeah, she's an icon in our industry. She gives back in organizations like 210 Footwear Foundation. Ariat's a member of ours at FDRA, and so she knows fully well that this is a community, this is a family, and she's been so generous with her time and her talents and availing her team to the many causes that are important to the industry in a broad sense. So kudos to Beth, and for sure for her vision and for creating such an amazing brand.
Thank you.
Yeah. So my question for you is, okay, so you got to pick your favorite pair of boots, and what it could be work, it could be English, it could be Western. Cindy, we'll start with you. What are your favorite pair of boots? And this may be a softball, but let's hit it out of the park. What are your favorite pair of boots? If you're going out a night on the town to see a Mavs game, or you're going to have a great dinner somewhere in the city, or you're going to the Cowboys game, whatever. Like, something on the town. What boots are you wearing?
Well, actually, I have to say, because we're in Western and English, I actually have two. I have a pair of English Ariat boots that I bought probably at least 15 years ago at the National Finals Rodeo. And that is a whole nother story out in Vegas. And then I've got a great pair of Western boots from Letty's down in Fort Worth in the stockyards. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to Fort Worth or the stockyards, but they do a cattle drive every day down there. And Letty's is an iconic Western store there in the stockyards. So I've got my English and my Western go-tos.
That's a strong pick. The Fort Worth's awesome too. We haven't even mentioned it, but Fort Worth has such a heritage for Western wear. I mean, that to me is the epicenter, outside of the Dallas Market Center, of course, for buying and selling great product. But if culturally, the epicenter of Fort Worth, Texas, seems to be a great place to go check out all the latest boots that are out there that people are wearing. All right, Sharon, what about you? Your favorite? You may have a ton of children. They're like all your kids, right? So it's hard to pick one, but what are your favorite boots?
They are. My husband's like, really? You need another pair of boots? And the answer is always yes. But it's an easy answer. So my favorite boot is our Casanova. It's, to me, the perfect mix of strength and style. It's a little feminine, but it's completely timeless and bold. And I've worn them everywhere, honestly, from store floors to sales summits. And every time somebody stops and asks me about it, and they make me feel really like the best version of myself. And I think that's what a great pair of boots do for a person.
I agree. I totally agree. What about you, Christie? Join in on the fun.
Yeah. So, okay. I need a nice pair of boots is what I need, but I have two pairs of boots. I have, one of my favorites is I have bright metallic pink cowboy boots. And I usually wear those to a festival, or I wore them to the Taylor Swift concert a couple years ago.
Of course, that's appropriate.
Definitely appropriate. So I'd have to say those are my favorite. I'm not sure what brand they are, though.
We'll just say they're Ariat and we'll go with it. So,
yeah.
Of course they are. You'll be kicked off the show instantly if you said otherwise. So. For me, it's interesting because I have pictures of me as a kid, like the late 70s, early 80s, where I'm wearing cowboy boots. And it's just been a constant as a young boy, those are your heroes. I had Long Ranger and Tonto toys. These are old school things we're talking about. But fast forward, you're right. Sharon, it's been it's not just a trend. It's like baked into our cultural DNA, and maybe sales kind of spike at different cultural, cultural flashpoints, if you will, where we see sales spike with Yellowstone or with Cowboy Carter or some of these really interesting things. But at the same time, there's just always a steady pace when it comes to Western. Now, I will also say, to flip the script, my wife and I just binge watched Downton Abbey, like all 6 seasons, all 3 movies in 6 weeks. And, some of the English styles in that show, I don't know how I could pull it off, but I think there are a lot of great options just depending on what flavor you're interested in when it comes to boots.
We have the perfect boot for you, Matt. We can talk after the show.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it, and then I'll tell our audience exactly what that is, and we'll see what they think. So, let me ask you this kind of last closeout question. If let's say we're having this conversation a year from now, Cindy, and you look back 2025, you've said the T word a couple times, which is kind of it just turns in my head as I try to sleep every single night because it's just a constant for us. But tariffs have been a huge impact on the marketplace. From a sourcing perspective, boots have a little bit more diversified sourcing base, some U.S. production, some production in Mexico. So they may have avoided some of these tariffs, but boots come in from Asia as well. And so it's highly disruptive. But to kind of ask the question a long way, when let's say we're talking in 2026 and you're looking back at the year behind you, how do you think things might have changed and how customers are engaging with product and the industry's adapting to the current landscape as it relates to trade tariffs and just the consumer itself?
I think we're going to look back and see that it was a very challenging year. I mean, for us, it started in the spring. And when you look at the market center and you look at all the categories of product we have, I mean, it hit us really hard in the spring with the holiday and floral and trying to get those goods on the water for Halloween, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. And what we saw is that retailers, during COVID, they were trying to buy, but the wait times got so long because of the components and all. And then during the tariffs, they were trying to grab whatever they could get. They were trying to buy whatever was in stock because they were afraid if they didn't buy it when it came in, it was going to get hit with a much higher tariff and the prices were going to go up. But there's still so many Western brands, particularly in the hat side, with long wait times. I mean, I know some of the boot people were telling us there were 18-month wait times. Some of the hat people were saying there were 18-month wait times. So I think that it will end as a really challenging time. I mean, the India tariffs, the talk of that hitting all, because the manufacturers that left China, so many of them, they went to India or they went to Indonesia or the Philippines or Vietnam. And then the India tariff comes along. And so now, there's containers sitting on, still sitting there. There were containers sitting in ports. And it has been extremely disruptive, I think, on the retail side because the manufacturers, they're not necessarily bringing the goods in. The retailers are trying to pivot and adapt and just really make sure they can get through fourth quarter. So I think, we're all hoping that it calms down, we get resolution so that next year can be much brighter. And we're hoping that we can end with a really strong fourth quarter. But we're going to look back and probably the same way we did with COVID and say, oh my gosh, let's hope it's in our rearview mirror and we're moving ahead strong into 2026.
Yeah, I love that. What about you, Sharon, from your perspective?
Well, the fun thing about the tariff conversation is it's impacting everybody, right?
Yeah.
And so nobody is immune to dealing with it. And I think what it's challenging us to do is think differently about not only our supply chain, but our go-to-market strategies. What I really learned during the pandemic was how strong we could be if we work with our partners and problem solve together. We were one team trying to serve the consumer and do it the best way we could. I see that happening again here. It's certainly more complex because it doesn't feel like there's an end. But I know that what we've taken those learnings and we're taking them forward and we're navigating it in conversations. And again, it goes back to the original piece of what we love about this industry is the connection with our partners, both our market center partners and our retail partners and our wholesale relationships as well. We're all going to navigate this together. We will come out in a better place. And thankfully, the consumer is still looking to buy product from all brands. And that's the best part.
Yeah, that is the best part. And I think this conversation is just illustrated. And I think, Cindy, you started talking about some of the learnings from COVID in particular. Sharon, you just shared some as well. But with, with these kind of challenges, opportunities arise. It hones us, it sharpens us. Now we're weary. Let's not like beat around the bush, but we're going to be stronger as we get through this. So I'm actually optimistic about 26 because I think some of these things will level out. Maybe the India tariffs will come down. Maybe they'll settle some of these agreements moving forward. But nevertheless, we got to sell shoes no matter what the tariff rate is. And so we'll keep doing that. But Cindy, let me ask you this. Before we go, what's the best way in which our viewers and our listeners can find out more information about the Dallas Market Center and the opportunities to come to the show in January and beyond? Where should we direct our folks to go and check things out?
Yeah, the best place is our website, dallasmarketcenter.com. And January is really an amazing month for us where we host all industry shows. But for fashion and footwear in particular, we have our women's and children's market. And then we overlap that with Western and English, and then we have men's as well. So we have all apparel and footwear fashion segments going on in 1 week here. So we've got a great Dallas Fashion Week in January.
That's awesome. So DallasMarketCenter.com, and then go to Ariat.com, I assume, Sharon, to get all the great Ariat product that's out there at your fingertips, direct to consumer, drop ship. It's all available to you there. Am I right?
Well, for us, we want consumers to find Ariat wherever they choose to shop.
Got it.
So whether through Ariat.com, our great retail stores, and our tremendous wholesale partners, we hope that they find the brand and to be part of our community, which is truly the most important piece.
That's awesome. Well, Cindy and Sharon and Christie, thank you so much for having this conversation with me, educating us on like the current lay of the land when it comes to Western wear and how buyers can come to Dallas to not only just check in with the culture and see the heart and soul of the Western industry itself, but also connect and see great product, particularly in January coming up. And so go to DallasMarketCenter.com to learn more information to make sure you book your trip to Dallas for January. Thank you for watching this. We have episodes that come out every single Monday. We hope that you go to shoeandshow.com to learn more. You also go to shoetube.org to see all the great content, all the great videos that we're producing. And until next time, Shoe and Show is out.
Shoe In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.